I've been in show business since I was 14. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
What do you think about them accusing Diddy of having cameras in his house so he can record celebrities and politicians and use it as blackmail?
I firmly believe that's true because in that sector of people, a lot of them practice Scientology.
Why didn't they ask Leah Remini? She's a little more credible. But then again, she might have been able to pull some of their cards because a lot of them motherfuckers is involved in that Scientology bullshit too.
We all know there's different treatment for celebrities.
Well, especially in Scientology, right?
No.
It's highlighted.
It is like nothing you could ever imagine. It is, so when people say Tom doesn't leave because they have information on him or John, that's not the reason. The amount of power they receive from this church is like nothing in Hollywood.
So, recent reports have surfaced suggesting that Dave Chappelle was allegedly targeted by the Church of Scientology, possibly with assistance from Diddy, after he declined the $50 million Comedy Central contract and traveled to Africa. This may have been part of a broader effort to either recruit him or silence him. According to some sources, the issue extends far beyond religion or celebrity culture. It's about control, blackmail, and managing the industry's most influential figures. There have been long-standing rumors that Diddy's so-called freak-offs were used to trap celebrities and even political figures in compromising situations, gathering leverage against them. If that sounds familiar, it's because similar allegations have been made about Scientology's tactics as well. Over the years, numerous former members have accused the church of using personal secrets, surveillance, and even intimidation to maintain control. But here's the key point. Many people don't believe Diddy is the one orchestrating everything. Instead, he's thought to be a go-between for more powerful individuals operating behind the scenes. The same names and organizations continue to appear, from Hollywood insiders to elite crisis PR firms, all seemingly interconnected in unusual ways. So the question remains, was it all just coincidence? Or was Dave Chappelle wise to step away when he did? Let's take a closer look.
I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you. I was afraid,
But you were stressed out. That's why.
There's no question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind you and say, you're insane.
Let's begin with the speculation around Diddy and his potential ties to the Church of Scientology. Diddy has long been a part of the Hollywood ecosystem, collaborating with major actors, producers, and agents. Since the 1980s, Scientology has had a strong presence in the industry, particularly among influential figures, making it likely that Diddy has interacted with its networks or related PR channels. Reports dating back to the 2000s suggest Scientology made deliberate efforts to attract more black celebrities in an attempt to revamp its public image, especially wealthy, high-profile entertainers. One particularly striking rumor is that the church allegedly tried to recruit Dave Chappelle after he rejected the $50 million Comedy Central deal and left for Africa. Some online theories argue that Chappelle became a target for specific Hollywood groups once he began distancing himself from their influence, including both Scientology and individuals tied to Diddy. An old website, ChappelleTheory.com, even claimed a secret alliance of powerful black figures, referred to as the Dark Crusaders, pressured Chappelle to comply and allegedly threatened his children. Adding to the speculation is former worker Jonathan Audi, who claimed he was paid to participate in Diddy's freak-offs. Audi alleged that Diddy was a member of a group known as the Boule, or the Black Illuminati, and had political connections through his attorneys, Mark Garagos and Ben Mallis. Now, some people are connecting these dots and suggesting this entire web of influence extends far beyond Diddy alone.
How do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. Okay. I'm from Africa, so I'm not a racist. I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land over contracts.
Now, when it comes to Diddy and Scientology, he's never publicly confirmed any affiliation. However, the fact that he spends time around well-known Scientologists has sparked speculation. He's moved in the same professional and social spaces as people like Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. both of whom have been associated with Scientology in various ways. For instance, the Smiths launched a school called the New Village Leadership Academy, which applied a teaching approach developed by Scientology. Will stated that their goal was simply to reimagine public education and make learning more enjoyable for children. However, the school eventually closed after concerns surfaced among parents about its ties to Scientology. It was revealed that several key staff members, such as the learning director, qualifications director, and artistic director, were practicing Scientologists. Additionally, the school's website promoted Study Tech, an educational method developed by Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. Although Jada has consistently claimed she is not a Scientologist, she has acknowledged exploring Dianetics and incorporating Scientology-based practices like Study Tech in her educational efforts. Former members of the church have alleged, however, that they frequently saw her at various Scientology centers, especially the Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. Actress Leah Remini, who left the church and now speaks publicly against it, detailed some of these claims in her book Troublemaker: Surviving Hollywood and Scientology. She recounted seeing Jada at the church often. Leah also shared a peculiar story involving an evening at Tom Cruise's home, attended by the Smiths, where Tom allegedly insisted that the adults play a game of hide and seek. "At first, I thought he was kidding," Leah wrote, "but he genuinely wanted everyone to participate in a game inside a roughly 7,000 square foot home on nearly 3 acres of private land." Leah declined, but Tom approached her and said, "Well, good. So, you're it then." In a later interview with the Daily Beast, Leah reinforced her claim that Jada had been involved with Scientology. "I know Jada's in. She's been part of it for a long time," she said. "I never saw Will there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center regularly. They even opened a Scientology school, which has since closed." Then there's Jamie Foxx. He used to openly talk about attending Diddy's parties, and even admitted to filming some of them. But out of nowhere, he experienced a serious medical emergency and was reportedly in a coma for several months. This led to speculation that Diddy may have played a role in what happened to him.
There has been negative propaganda put out about me that's not true.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You know, you couldn't even get in his party. So the way I would get in his parties, I show up with a camera.
Puff, yo, you gotta let me film this, the whole thing. We need to document this, Playboy.
Puff is there, and it's all about him. And I'll never forget, he got mad at me.
So Jamie Foxx suffered a very serious medical emergency that landed him in the hospital.
Yo, Fox, Puff's in there. So it's kind of, I'm like, damn, shit is crazy now, huh? So what I did was, I would show up to the party in my little town car. There's town, you know, I grabbed me a town car so I could skirt. Puff the SUVs and the road and the Bentleys, the whole night. He get out. I get out too with a camera. The big Canon, like, yo, Puff, I should document this shit, right? Yo, what's up, Playboy? What you talking about? I said, no, I should get this, man. You, Fonz for the whole nine. He says, yeah, let him through. Excuse me. So I get there. But at that time, it wasn't like the little camera y'all got. It was the big intrusive Canon. I had a battery pack. Hold on, man. Let me change the pack. Put my light on here. Do that again, Puff. Do that again. I missed that one. Do that again. Put the pack. So I started following him.
Let's remember that Jamie once dated Katie Holmes, who is the ex-wife of Tom Cruise, arguably the most influential Scientologist in the entertainment industry.
Oh, you know what? It's something that has helped me incredibly in my life.
Yeah.
And I've been a Scientologist for over 30 years,
Yeah.
and it's something that, as you know, without it, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a beautiful religion, and I'm very proud.
Scientology's influence in Hollywood is well documented. The church has numerous celebrity members and is known for relying on loyal insiders and aggressive legal teams to defend its interests. So, if Diddy is even loosely connected to them, it's not unreasonable to think those same strategies might be used to help cover up or redirect any controversy surrounding him. One recent example is the case of actor Danny Masterson. Reports indicate that the Church of Scientology shielded him for years after he assaulted 2 fellow church members. Masterson, a practicing Scientologist, was found guilty of raping the women in incidents that occurred between 2001 and 2003. Allegedly, this was kept under wraps for nearly 20 years, until in September 2023, he was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. And guess who one of Diddy's close friends is? Ashton Kutcher, who also came under scrutiny for his connection to Masterson. When Masterson was charged, Ashton and his wife Mila Kunis wrote letters to the judge requesting leniency, describing Danny as a person of strong character and a positive influence. However, they seemed unaware that court documents are public and accessible to anyone, not just the judge. This misstep led them to release an awkward apology video in which both appeared uncomfortable and seemingly scripted. At one point, Ashton emphasized that their letters were only intended for the judge's review.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read.
In the end, Ashton said that he and Mila were sorry if their letters offended anyone, which many took to mean they weren't truly apologetic. But that wasn't the end of it. After Ashton and Mila publicly supported Danny, one of his accusers, Chrissy Carnell Bixler came forward with claims that Ashton might be hiding something, and even implied that Mila could be a victim herself. Bixler wrote, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model is keeping for you, secrets that could ruin you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone when you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my view, you're just as disturbing as your mentor." She also addressed Mila, writing, "I hope you start to process what you went through as a child on that set. I know what happened in Toronto and afterward. If that's what you believe a normal relationship with a big brother figure looks like, then I'm truly sorry for you. I hope you consider therapy." As far as the public knows, Ashton hasn't officially joined the Church of Scientology, but he has been connected to other unconventional spiritual groups. Fans discovered that he practiced Kabbalah and has been affiliated with the Los Angeles Kabbalah Center for years. The Kabbalah Center has faced numerous accusations of being a cult, with cult expert Rick Allen Ross and others criticizing it as a manipulative organization led by the Berg family. The group has a long history of negative media coverage, complaints, and claims of being a harmful religious movement. Interestingly, the Kabbalah Center has been noted to share some similarities with Scientology. So, if both Ashton and Danny are involved in controversial spiritual circles, it wouldn't be surprising if they supported and protected one another. Circling back to Diddy and his alleged Scientology connections, former celebrity bodyguard Big, homie CeCe once claimed that Diddy learned blackmail tactics directly from his Scientologist contacts in Hollywood.
What do you think about them accusing Diddy of having cameras in his house so he can record celebrities and politicians and use it as blackmail?
I firmly believe that's true because in that sector of people, a lot of them practice Scientology. And Scientology, that was their thing. They would get people in compromising positions. They'll hold that footage over their head and get them to agree to things. I think he one of them Scientology people, bro. Because that's probably where he got that from. A lot of powerful guys operate like that. So the things I'm seeing with him, it all makes sense.
Additionally, Jaguar Wright suggested that there may be a connection between Scientology and a rumored elite secret society operating in Hollywood.
Why didn't they ask Leah Remini? She's a little more credible. But then again, she might have been able to pull some of their cards because a lot of them motherfuckers involved in that Scientology bullshit too. That's LA. Right into the corner where Biggie was. I was just there. Literally. And that building, it's this big, gaudy, Masonic looking thing. You know, it's all right, architecturally wise. But what gets really interesting about it is when the sun goes down, they turn the lights on. Blood red, pure blood red. The whole building glows, pure blood red. I don't know, man. It just feels disturbing to me. You put this thing up that looks like some kind of Masonic monument where Biggie Smalls was to that. And at night, you thought that the color should be blood red. I don't know.
You spoke about Scientology.
Yeah.
Does that have to do with anything with the Illuminati, or is that just separate entity?
They're separate entities, but they work in tandem.
Right.
They spy on each other's people for each other. Right. You know, if they don't want to make it look like they're stalking one of their, defectees. They'll ask somebody from TMZ to do it for them. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud, allegedly. Harvey. They farm it out, make it seem like it's just paparazzi stuff when they're actually doing investigation. And Scientologists, they're relentless. A lot of people farm out their gaslighting work to them for a profit. That's LA.
And you don't need to be deep into conspiracy theories to notice the parallels between Diddy's alleged control strategies and methods long associated with Scientology. Both are reported to involve isolating individuals, psychological manipulation, constant surveillance, intimidation, and the use of fear to maintain control. In Scientology, followers are told to cut off contact with so-called suppressive persons, which includes anyone, even close family members, who criticize the church. Members are pressured to completely disconnect from anyone who challenges or questions Scientology's authority.
Do they try to take things out against you? If you leave the church or you speak out against, what do they try to do? Do they try to suppress you?
They have a policy called fair game that they claim has been canceled. And they, in fact, did issue another policy that says fair game has been canceled. However, there's another policy that says, however, dealing with suppressive people remains the same. Dealing with suppressive people means to go after them, try to destroy their lives, try to find any crimes they've committed, expose them hard. You can lie about them. They have Scientologists picketing in front of people's houses going, don't trust your neighbor, implying that he's a sexual deviant. They go after your jobs. And when that doesn't work, they go after your family.
In Diddy's case, Cassie alleged in her lawsuit that he began isolating her from loved ones when she was just 19 years old. She claimed she was closely monitored, manipulated, and kept dependent on him, behaviors that closely align with recognized patterns of grooming and coercion.
So I wanted to get us all together so we could get this, everybody can hear from me how focused and excited I am about the project. I wanted, Cassie to, everybody to meet Cassie. Y'all know that. And hear the story directly from Mau. And then we get down to some business about, just so you can be on the same page of what the plan is, as far as from Tommy's concerned, and from where we're concerned as also labor.
In both scenarios, the accused becomes the victim's sole source of support and security, making it extremely difficult for the victim to walk away. Scientology also employs a technique known as auditing, which is designed to exploit emotional vulnerabilities. Through this method, followers are encouraged to interpret their past trauma as personal failings or flaws of the reactive mind. This process often leads individuals to doubt their own judgment and instead rely fully on church doctrine. On their official YouTube channel, Scientology promotes auditing as a way to manage emotional pain. A promotional video explains that one of Scientology's core beliefs is that a person can only improve their life if they're guided to uncover their own personal truths. Auditing, they say, involves asking carefully crafted questions to help individuals identify and confront areas of emotional difficulty.
One of the fundamental principles of Scientology is that a person can improve his condition only if he is allowed to find his own truths about himself. In Scientology, this is accomplished through auditing. Auditing is the process of asking specifically worded questions designed to help you find and handle areas of distress. This is done with an auditor, meaning one who listens. An auditor does not offer solutions or advice. They are trained to listen and to help you locate those experiences that need to be addressed. But some experiences are so deeply buried within the mind, they are not easily recalled. The auditor helps you pinpoint these with the aid of an e-meter. When you think of something that has upset or stress connected to it, this shows up on the meter. Your attention can now be directed to that thought. Through auditing, one is able to look at their own existence and discover the past experiences that are holding them back against their will.
In Diddy's case, multiple accusers have said he used similar manipulation techniques. He would first harm or belittle them, and then follow up with expensive gifts and attention. expecting appreciation in return. This reflects a classic form of trauma bonding. Another layer of control came through financial dependence. In Scientology, for example, members are encouraged to spend significant amounts of money on something called the Bridge to Total Freedom, a structured path to spiritual liberation. As they move up in levels, the financial demands grow, leading to deep emotional and monetary reliance on the organization.
Normally, the beginning courses are like $50, not really expensive things. It's not committal, you don't have to sign your life away. When you finish that course, then you go and see the reg, basically a salesperson, who then goes, all right, cool, this is the next thing you need to do.
Similarly, Diddy reportedly fostered dependency by offering lavish presents, luxury perks, and career advancements, only to later weaponize those benefits. Some victims were allegedly silenced or compensated using non-disclosure agreements and hush money, coordinated by Diddy and his associates.
We want to hear those names, and we want to be assured that there's not hush money agreements going on, and that he's not simply dangling the idea that he's going to drop these names before he has the opportunity to reach a settlement.
Yeah, I mean, on Fox News, their lawyer Brian Claypool said if Combs doesn't testify in this case, he's dead on arrival. Would you concur with that?
Testimony is something that I guess it has only some value to it, because of course he's going to deny it if he were to testify. I think what the case really comes down to is the corroborating evidence.
And then there's the serious concern of blackmail, which many believe is central to Diddy's case. In Scientology, members submit knowledge reports and undergo auditing, both of which reportedly generate personal information that can be used as leverage. This data has allegedly been used to control and silence critics or defectors.
Andrew Morton, the man who stripped bare Princess Diana's private life, then Monica Lewinsky's, is about to release his new book about Tom Cruise. It features extraordinary claims about Scientology's #1 recruit and his second wife, Nicole Kidman. With the release of this new Andrew Morton book, it makes an extraordinary claim that Nicole, the information she gave out while being audited in the Church of Scientology, is being used to blackmail her. Is this plausible? Is this possible? How does this? What do you make of these claims?
The nature of auditing is such that you're encouraged to reveal all of your deep, dark secrets and things that may be incriminating or embarrassing. And these things are all written down, and these files are kept permanently.
When it comes to Diddy's suspected blackmail tactics, comparisons have already been made to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was said to have compromising material on a wide range of people, celebrities, politicians, and more, while allegedly running a covert blackmail operation. As for his motives, we can't delve into the full details here due to platform restrictions, but if you explore Epstein's connections, especially the roles of Ghislaine Maxwell and her father, Robert Maxwell, you may start to understand who might have been supporting his efforts.
Be very few. Robert Maxwell was a newspaper owner, an entrepreneur, and an all-round crook. He plundered the pension fund of his newspaper and deprived thousands of pensioners of their life savings. He was a con man, and that's why he got on so well with the intelligence services. Whole books have been written about him, but I've only got time here to talk about his intelligence connections. He was born in Czechoslovakia before the Second World War to an Orthodox Jewish family, and he escaped the Nazi invasion, got to France, and from there joined the British Army. He did very well in the British Army and rose to the rank of Major. Just after the Second World War, his knowledge of languages, and it's said that he spoke about 8 languages fluently, was used by the British Army and also British intelligence. But at some stage he also started working for Israel, and I think these days we would class him as an agent of influence. As a con man, he used his connections to whatever his advantage was, at the same time trying to please his 2 masters. Sometimes it's said that he was also working for the KGB, but in fact, if you look at his work, it's more likely that what he was doing was just using those contacts to establish a bridge, mostly for Israel, but also for Britain in certain missions. Now, the key thing about him is how he died. In 1991, his business empire was collapsing, burdened by debt, and he was also being quizzed about his connections with Israel. His naked body was found that November floating in the Atlantic Ocean. It was said that he'd had a heart attack and fallen off of the side of his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine. But there was a story going around at the time, and I can only call it a very well-informed story, that what actually happened was that Mossad paid him a visit that night, and he was given an offer to step off the yacht and end it all before inquiries went any further.
As for Diddy, speculation suggests he may have adopted similar strategies, possibly using his infamous parties, referred to by some as freak-offs, as part of a broader blackmail setup. The theory is that Diddy invited high-profile individuals, got them involved in questionable activities, and used that to hold influence over them. However, many believe Diddy wasn't at the top of this structure, but rather played a secondary role, with more influential figures orchestrating events behind the scenes. And if that weren't complex enough, there's another potential link to Scientology. Epstein reportedly hired Citri & Company, a crisis PR firm that also handles Scientology's public relations. So the deeper you dig, the more interconnected everything starts to seem. Between rumors that Dave Chappelle was approached by a so-called Black Illuminati with alleged ties to top Scientologists, Diddy's connections to members of the church, and this reported blackmail system, it might all sound like a far-fetched theory. But ultimately, you can research it and decide for yourself whether these are just random coincidences or signs of something more serious. In the meantime, share your thoughts on the connections between Diddy, Scientology, and the powerful figures possibly involved. Drop a comment below and stay tuned for the next video.